Hello, everybody. This is Corbin from Zoco Marketing. Today, we are going to be going through Google Optimize. This is all about Google Optimize, a full tutorial. If you were just starting out, how to get it onto your site and how to run common tests. Basically, Google Optimize 101. For those who don't know what Google Optimize is, it's a free tool. They have a paid version, but you can do a lot with the free version from Google to be able to test different variants on your website to basically find higher conversion rates. So it's a very powerful tool, something that is good to have in your repertoire, so to speak. And we're going to jump into setting this up. Right now, I am on marketingplatform.google.com /about/optimize. If you don't want to type that in your browser, just Google Optimize, and you'll find this page. And we are going to start from free. This is from scratch. We're going to be setting up the account, putting the code on the website, and going from there. So we're going to let this load. Then we're going to hit create account right here. We're going to call this Zoco Marketing. We're going to leave all those checked, acknowledge these, say yes. And then we're going to hit next. We're going to give this a name. I'm going to call it my site. So www.com. Create that. And now from here, if you hit let's get it, it's going to take you right into creating a test. First, we need to put the site code onto our site. So we're going to go over here to settings. We're going to link to our analytics. Select the property that is associated with your account. So I'm going to do Zoco Marketing here. And I want to do the filtered view. I don't want my all website data because it filters out my own IP address. So you can choose the views that you want. You will have to be logged into the Google account that is linked with these Google Analytics as well to connect those. We're going to hit link. Okay, so that's the first thing that we need to do. Next, we need to go in and install Google Optimize onto our website. Now, there's a few different ways to do this. For this video, I'm going to be doing this through Google Tag Manager. That's the easiest way and the most consistent way that I've found. We're going to be installing this through Google Tag Manager. So all we need to do, instead of copying this whole tag right here, or this whole code, we're just going to copy this ID. We're going to come over to Google Tag Manager. We're going to hit New Tags. We're going to create a new one. And we're going to call this Google Optimize. I can spell. And then if you just go down here, you can see Google works well with Google, so they have a direct integration. So we're going to do Google Optimize container ID. We're going to paste that code that we got from our from Google Optimize. We're going to click the variable. So this is your Google Analytics variable that if you haven't set that up before, you need to go over here to variables and just connect your Google Analytics. And then we are not going to apply a trigger here. This is kind of a weird setup, but you don't apply a trigger. You just hit save and you say save tag. So it's telling me no trigger, which is totally fine. We hit save. But what we need to do now is go into your Google Analytics tag. This is assuming that you already have Google Analytics deployed through Google Tag Manager. If you have Google Analytics deployed through Google Tag Manager, you come in here and you click on Google Analytics. And then we need to hit page view, advanced settings, come over to allow only fire this tag in publish contain, once per page, and then tag sequencing, I can't say that. We're going to hit fire a tag before Google Analytics fires, and that is going to be our Google Optimize tag. The reason for this is you want your Optimize tag to fire before anything else, because if not, then you'll get what's called a flicker, where it shows your original test before you see the B variant, and it kind of throws everything off. So we're going to hit save. And we are going to preview these changes just real quick to make sure that it got onto our website. And then we look back over here, hit continue, and there is our Google Optimize tag. So we're looking good. So we go back over here. And if anybody's wondering about the anti-flicker code, as I mentioned, you don't need that with this new, I think they updated this about 3 or 4 months ago. Most sites will not need the anti-flicker code. If you want to find out if you need it or not, come over here to hit that Learn More button, and then you can look at this little chart right here to see if you need to add the anti-flicker code or not. For my situation, I don't need to, but you can go and check this as a reference just to make sure. So now that we got that on our site, I have installed the Google Optimized Chrome extension. If you haven't, click this button and install the extension, and then notifications, account, good settings, and then we are all good to go. You can add more users right here or notifications. I'm not going to do either of that in this situation. I'm going to hit exit, and then now we are ready to start our first test. So we're going to hit let's go. I'm going to name this demo test. And this is going to be what's called an A/B test. An A/B test is where you're testing A versus B. So you have the A variant, which is the original, versus the B variant. And in this case, it can be C, D, E, F, G. They just call it an A/B test because that's, I guess, what it's always been called. So we're going to enter in our website right here. So we're going to do HTTPS. That was a struggle. ZocoMarketing.com. We're going to create this A/B test, and then later I'll go into a multivariant test and how that looks as well. But we're going to hit create. Okay, and then inside of here, there's lots of cool things that you can do. As far as starting the test, the first thing you need to do is add a variant. And in this, you can call it variant 1. I recommend being very specific with this. So if you're changing the button color or a text or something like this, I would name it that. So say we wanted to change our button color to yellow. So I would call this yellow button for the variant, and then hit done. And it's going to show you, it's going to pop up this little widget right here. Here you can adjust the amount of traffic that you want to send to each variant. So if I, for whatever reason, wanted to send 25% to my original and 75% to the yellow button, you could do that. You can add more variants. So if I wanted to go, say we have yellow button and we want a blue button, I could add another variant right here, and then it will automatically evenly distribute that the weight, the amount for where each or how much traffic gets allocated to each one of those. And then when you want to go through and make the edits here, you just hit edit. And this is where Google Optimize becomes very powerful. So this gives you kind of a way to drag and drop different elements and an easy way to change out colors or text. And I'm going to show you some of the common ways that I use it. Okay, I'm going to make sure that this isn't in the way. All right, so as you visit this, as you can notice, we are in the editor because we have Google Optimize kind of in this left-hand corner. This is the variant that I'm editing. If you wanted to go through and switch through your different variants, you could click right here. Over in this right-hand column, we have if you click on any element, you notice it picks up the HTML. If I click right here and hit edit element, it will pick up into that HTML, and you can edit that's typically the best way that I do it, is like edit HTML. You could edit text, but if you have a decent understanding of HTML, it's easier. So if I wanted to come in and say, okay, let's instead of your free business solution or your business PPC solution, maybe I want to say your business, best PPC company, whatever it may be. I know that's a stupid headline, but just thinking of different things that you could do and test inside of here. Best PPC company. That's the easy way to change the text. If you wanted to come in and edit like this, the button color right here, you could hit edit. So I click on it and notice how it's highlighted, and then I hit edit element, and I could come over and I could change the text. So instead of submit, I could say, it's my proposal. So you could say it's my proposal, and then hit enter, and then it changes that text for you. If I wanted to change the color of this, I could scroll down, and right here you could use your color code, or you could just pick a color directly. So this is our yellow button color test. So I'm gonna go. Oh, it's not really in my color palette, but I'm gonna change this to red. And that's how you could change the button color. I have a border on here, so you could go through and change the border as well. Now, say after I made the edit to this button, I realized, I actually don't really want to do that. You can go over here. It keeps track of all the changes that you've made. And I can see that right here, I changed the style. It kind of does it in order. I'm going to delete this. So it highlights it over here. I'm going to hit delete. And then I'm going to change this background color or the text button back to its normal color by hitting delete. And notice how this went from the red that it had in the middle there to back to purple. And you could do the same thing. So you could go back and edit the headline back or revert any changes that you've made inside of the editor. Another thing is if you have, I don't have on here like a menu widget or something that pops up, but if you had to go into live interaction mode, you could click right here and it would go into your website. So say if you had a drop down menu or something, you could go in and actually interact with the website to make sure you can get to that element. I'm gonna exit out of that. Another thing that can be useful, I don't recommend it a lot, but if you had to use it for whatever reason, is if you click in the setting right here, you can toggle this move anywhere thing off. And then what you could do is you could actually grab any element. If I grab this right here and move the entire element somewhere on the page. Now, this can be helpful sometimes, but the reason why I don't recommend it often is because when you do something like this, when you move it, right now I'm looking at the desktop version, but it could really wreck the view in mobile. So say I thought the form looked better, right here or whatever. You'd want to make sure and go and test that in each different on mobile, desktop, tablet. And how you could look at that is come over here to this top. You can go through and look and say, okay, I want to see what it looks like on iPhone 7. I guess I got to save these before. So I'm going to hit save here. Oh, and then this is telling me that the editor page provided without the backslash, the actual URL. So just to update URL, as you can see, it's the same one. It just has the backslash on there. So I'm going to update this URL. Okay, so now that that's saved, I should be able to come over here to iPhone 7. It's going to take a second to load. And we can see exactly what those look like inside of what any of our changes look like on each device. See, as you can see, I moved that over and it looked okay on desktop, but on mobile, it absolutely kind of wrecks the functionality of the website. So be careful with that feature to drag and drop inside of Google Optimize. So we're going to go back now to the desktop view, to standard. All right, next, if you wanted to change images or elements, that's fairly easy to do inside of Google Optimize as well. So say I wanted to change this icon for whatever reason. So I click in here, make sure it's selected, and then I would need to go through and change the source. So this is tied to my WordPress content library. So I need to upload whatever it is inside of the content library. So another thing is if you wanted to get rid of sections completely, you could do that as well. So say I wanted to get rid of this bottom part, this whole subscription thing, I could come right here and edit element and remove, and it literally gets rid of that whole section. So if you wanted to go and test different parts of your site, you could do it that way. And those are the basic tests that you can run fairly easy inside of Google Optimize. As you see here, it shows our changes. I do recommend only changing one thing on the site. That way, if your conversion rate does go up, you can attribute what that variable was that caused that to happen. But we're going to call this our test so far, and we're going to hit save and done. That's going to take us back to the Google Optimize menu where we have our variants. I'm not going to go through and change another variant just because you guys get the idea, but you can add as many as you need. I think there is a limit, but I'm going to delete this one right here. Once you have your variants all sorted out and you like how the second variant looks, you can go through and change the URL or the page targeting. In this case, I just want it when people hit my homepage, but you have different options in here like host, page path, URL fragment, and then you can also change matches or contains or starts with. Contains is helpful if you're making changes to like your navigation to your menu where it changes on every page. You could do page contains, whatever it may be, to have that test run throughout your whole website. So lots of different things that you can do here. And we're going to head back out of there. You can also do and targeting. So you can add URLs to this test. You can target by audience. So this can become very powerful. If you come in here to customization, you can target based on your Google ads. So certain campaigns, keywords, UTM parameters, device categories, behavior, geography, technology, and then lots of other different advanced ones as well that you can dive deep into. So some cool things that you can do inside of there. For this example, we're not going to be adding any audiences. And then if you wanted to add a description here, this is where you could say what this test is about, maybe your hypothesis on what you think might be better. Like I think the yellow button will win, or I wanted to test the yellow button, whatever it may be. I think yellow will win. Just so if multiple people are working on the account, it is helpful to have those notes inside of there. The last thing you're going to want to do is assign an objective. This is so you can see what what results actually happen if you get 5 leads from a variant or 10 leads from a variant, and what that conversion rate is. And this pulls directly from your Google Analytics goals. So I'm going to hit add objective, and we're going to choose from a list. And these are, like I said, goals that I set up in my Google Analytics. So I'm going to do this form submit Google goal completion 1. If you don't have goals set up, you could set up your own custom events. And here are the event parameters that you can use. You can go through and hit event and select whatever it may be, the action label, value, and set up those goals. But most of the time, I do recommend just pulling them from your Google Analytics goals because it's easier that way, and they're probably already set up. So we're going to discard these changes. Last thing is make sure that your Google optimized tag is installed correctly. So we're going to hit check installation right here. And as you can see, no major issues were detected, so we are good. So we're going to hit back to experience. And the last few settings is you can get email notifications when tests go live or when they pause if you'd like. You can allocate different traffic. So if you don't want to say you don't want to send 100% of traffic to the tests, you could do you could change this from 100 all the way, I think, down to 5% is as low as it lets you go. Or even 0. Oh yeah, so you can allocate as little as traffic as you need. If you have a really big website, this could come in handy, but most of the time you're going to want to keep this at 100%. We're going to hit done. And you can change the activation event. Most of the time I recommend keeping this on page load, but you could change it to a custom event. And that is everything you need to know to get your first A/B test running. So we're going to hit back now. So once you're ready for this to start, you can hit start. Obviously, I'm not going to because I kind of mess around with the test here, but you can hit start. And it'll take you to a reporting view once you're done, that you can see the reports on how everything's performing. Now let's go into a multivariant test. So if we come over here to create experience, you can click into multivariant test. Real quick, we're not going to be going over a redirect test today. That is where you have 2 different pages with different URLs that you can send over. Like if I click over here, you can actually say, okay, URL 1, instead of going here, redirect it somewhere else. Or personalization, you can do some really cool stuff for that. A little more advanced, the personalization. So in today's tutorial, we're only going to go over A/B test and multivariant test. I'll probably have another one out soon for both of these ones, but we're going to go to multivariant. We're going to hit next. I'm going to call this test. Leave that site, hit create. And when you do a multivariant test, it's typically a page where you're going to want to have a lot of traffic. Like it takes a long time for these tests to be completed because you can have so many different combinations and variants. And where you would use a multivariant test is where if you wanted to test a headline with a different button color, with another button color, with another button color, and see how this headline and this button color perform together. So for example, if I add this variant, and let's say that this is blue button, we hit done. And then I add a couple other, we'll say that this is yellow button. Done. And then we want to test this with different headlines. So we go here, and in this headline, we call this, get more leads as our headline. And then in this next one, we say, download our guide. I'm just making stuff up as I go. Done. And you can create up to 16 of these variants. And then once you've created all those, we're going to hit combinations. And as you can see here, it's going to give you all the different combinations that it's going to run. So A1 with B0. So you're going to have your blue button with your original text. You're going to have your blue button with get more leads. You're going to have the blue button with download our guide, and then all the yellow button variations. So as you can see, if you add 4 or more, it very quickly becomes lots of tests that you're going to be allocating. And it does take a lot of traffic to run these. The rest of the setup is the same as the the A/B test, you're going to want to come in and define your URLs, your targeting, and it's connected to your Google Analytics. So you define your goals and you hit save. And as far as editing these, it's the same as well. You come in here and edit the variant to go inside of to actually edit the text or the button color or whatever it may be. Multivariant tests do take a little bit longer because you'd have to go through every page and edit those. So now you can come in over here, and say, I think this one we called this, so edit element, edit HTML. I think this one was get more leads or something like that. So we could name this, call this get more leads. And apply that. And that is Google Optimize 101. Hopefully you found this helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below if you did find it helpful. And I will see you guys in the next tutorial.